Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you not to tell you of a future dream, but to declare a present truth. I am a multi-millionaire. Now, I know some of you might think, but how is that possible? How can someone stand here and claim such a thing without the physical proof, without the visible manifestation? And to that I say, I am a multi-millionaire because I have assumed the identity of one. You see, success, wealth, and abundance are not things we strive for from a place of lack, but a state of being. It's not about hoping, wishing, or praying that things will change. No. It's about knowing. It's about becoming. It's about embodying the energy of what it is you want to experience. I do not wait for wealth to come to me. I live in the end. I live as though I am already living in the abundance I seek. When you assume the feeling of already being wealthy, your reality must change to reflect that assumption. This is not wishful thinking. This is the power of knowing. I wake up every day as the person I am, a person who sees opportunities where others see challenges, a person who feels the pulse of abundance in every breath. I live in end. If you were to ask me what it feels like to be a multimillionaire, I would tell you that I feel it now. I see the images of success in my mind's eye every single day. I see the freedom, the options, the opportunities flowing toward me with ease. I don't wait for a check, a business deal, or a specific event. My wealth is not a distant goal, it is my reality. And my mind in every waking moment only accepts this truth. But here's the most important piece of it all. Wealth is not just about numbers, it's about feeling. You see, money itself is just an energy, just an exchange. The true wealth lies in how you feel when you align yourself with that energy. The feeling of being wealthy, prosperous, abundant is the key to everything. It is the magnetic force that pulls all the material manifestations into your life. And let me tell you this. I no longer have space for thoughts of lack. Scarcity is a concept that belongs to another reality. I live in a world where possibilities are endless, where opportunities are abundant, and where success is inevitable. I've chosen to accept only thoughts and beliefs that support my wealth, and I trust that the universe, in all its infinite wisdom, will provide. When you are in harmony with life, when you surrender to the flow of abundance, wealth will naturally follow. Gratitude is the language of the universe, and I live in a constant state of gratitude for the wealth I have already attracted, for the wealth that is on its way, and for the wealth that is ever present in my life. Gratitude amplifies the energy of abundance, turning a single thought of prosperity into a magnet for endless opportunities. But above all, the most powerful aspect of my wealth is my belief. I believe without a shadow of a doubt that I am already a multimillionaire. My belief is the foundation upon which everything rests. And this belief is unshakable. It doesn't matter what the external world reflects right now. My belief is what shapes my world, and I know that it is only a matter of time before my inner reality becomes my outer reality. I stand here today not as someone who is seeking to become a millionaire, but as someone who already is. The world around me will continue to shift and align with my inner truth. And so, I ask you today, what would you do if you believed you were already the person you wish to become? How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you act? I invite you to assume the state of what you want to be, not as a future event, but as an absolute present reality. You are not waiting for wealth, you are already living it. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, they create your world. I am a multimillionaire, I am abundant, I am free, and so are you. I am a multimillionaire. I am not waiting to become one. I already am. I do not look to the future or hope for the day when wealth will arrive. I declare it now, in this present moment, that I am a multimillionaire. This is not a distant dream. This is my reality, a reality I live every day. The identity I have chosen for myself is one of abundance, success, and prosperity. I am the embodiment of wealth, not just in material form, but in the way I think, feel, and carry myself. The life I live reflects this truth. Every thought, every action, every decision is made from the knowing that I am already a person of significant wealth. I do not have to work for it because it is already within me. My wealth is not a goal to be achieved, but a state of being that I have embraced fully. I walk, I speak, I act as a person who has everything they desire. There is no doubt, no hesitation, no question. I am rich. I am abundant. I am the multimillionaire I have always aspired to be. I am the creator of my own reality, and in this reality, I am prosperous beyond measure. In fact, it is not even about the money itself. It's about the energy, the mindset, and the power I have harnessed. I have assumed this identity because I understand the truth. Once you accept who you are at the deepest level, the outer world has no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. I do not chase after wealth. I become it. And because I am wealth, it flows to me effortlessly, abundantly, and constantly. This is not about pretending or wishing. This is about knowing. I do not need external validation because the truth of who I am is unshakable. The wealth I have is an extension of who I am. It is a natural, inevitable result of the person I have chosen to be. I am a multimillionaire because I know it to be so. And this knowing shapes every part of my existence, the cornerstone of my reality. It is not a vague hope or a passing thought. It is the absolute conviction that what I assume to be true is true, regardless of any evidence to the contrary. I do not wait for things to align in the physical world before I believe. I believe first, and then everything else falls into place. When I assume the state of being a multimillionaire, I step into a reality where that is my truth. I do not need to see the millions in my bank account or the deals closing to know that I am already living in abundance. The world around me reflects my inner assumption, and as I assume this identity, the universe has no choice but to manifest it in my physical experience. My thoughts and beliefs are no longer governed by what is seen. I choose to assume the success, the freedom, and the prosperity that I desire. I choose to assume that wealth is not something I will have one day, but something I am now. In doing so, I bring it into my life effortlessly. The assumption creates a powerful momentum. I understand that the outer world does not shape my reality. My inner world does. If I assume that wealth is mine, that it is already in my life, it must be. The universe does not question my assumptions, it responds to them. This is the power I wield. The ability to assume without doubt or hesitation that I am a multimillionaire. The more I live from this assumption, the more I am surrounded by evidence that proves it to be true. And so, my assumptions are not idle thoughts. They are the seeds from which my life grows. I assume success, I assume wealth, I assume opportunities, and because I live as if I am already living in the abundance I desire, it becomes a certainty, not a possibility. My assumption of wealth is unshakable, and this unshakable belief brings it into being. Everything I desire is already mine. It is not a matter of if, but when. This power of assumption is what shapes my reality, and it is what has shaped my life as it is today. The life I live now is a direct reflection of the assumptions I hold about myself and the world around me. Every circumstance, every opportunity, every relationship flows from this single powerful truth. I assume I am a multimillionaire, and I live as such. Not simply a mental exercise. It is a way of being. It means fully inhabiting the reality you desire as if it is already here, as if it has already happened. It means thinking, acting, and feeling as though your desired outcome is a present experience, not a future event. I do not wait for the million-dollar deal to manifest in front of me. I live as though it has already been done. I walk through my day with the confidence of someone who has already reached the summit, who is already experiencing the success they once only dreamed about. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something that feels out of reach. It is about aligning your mind, your heart, and your actions with the reality you have already chosen. When I live, in the end, I no longer worry about the steps required to get there or how things will unfold. I trust that they already have. I don't chase opportunities. I am the opportunity. I don't wait for circumstances to change. I embody the change. The more I live in this state, the more the world reflects it back to me. Living in the end means that I am not a person who will be a multimillionaire, but rather I am someone who already is. I do not look at my bank account and measure my worth against the balance, nor do I compare myself to others. My external reality does not define me. My internal reality does. I carry myself with the ease and certainty of a person who has already achieved everything they set out to accomplish. There is no gap between the vision of myself and who I am now. I do not have to arrive at my destination because I am already there in my thoughts, in my feelings, in the way I see myself and my life. This is the power of living in the end. You stop seeing yourself as someone in the process of becoming and start seeing yourself as the completed version of who you desire to be. I act as if I am already a multimillionaire because in truth, I already am. My life and my circumstances must catch up with this inner truth. I do not see lack or limitation because in the state of living in the end, there is only abundance. There is no room for doubt or fear because I know that what I am living today is the exact reflection of the end I have already assumed. My success is inevitable. When I live in the end, I no longer feel the need to make things happen. I simply am the happening. I trust that the universe is already responding to my assumptions, already shaping circumstances and opportunities to align with the reality I have chosen. Every thought, every action, and every moment is an extension of the state I have chosen to live in. I am not waiting for something to change. I live as though it has already changed, and in doing so, the world around me bends and shifts to match the end I am living in. Living in the end is the ultimate act of faith. It is knowing that the vision you hold in your mind and the feeling you hold in your heart is enough to bring your desires into being. You don't need external validation because you already know who you are and where you are headed. You have already crossed the finish line in your mind, and because of that, the material world has no choice but to catch up. The bridge between the world of thought and the world of reality. It is not just about imagining a scenario or daydreaming about success. It is about seeing, feeling, and living your desired outcome in your mind with such vividness and clarity that your subconscious begins to accept it as fact. When I visualize, I am not imagining what I want to happen. I am witnessing what is happening right now. The more detailed and lifelike my imagery, the more my mind believes in the reality I am creating. I close my eyes, and I am there, in the place where I am already a multimillionaire, living a life of freedom, joy, and limitless opportunity. In my mental imagery, I can hear the sounds of success, the phone calls that bring good news, the sound of the door opening to new ventures, the laughter of family and friends celebrating my success. I can see the numbers in my bank account not as a future hope, but as an already existing truth. I see the wealth not as a distant goal, but as something I walk in every day. My mind conjures the images of what it would feel like to have everything I desire: the luxury, the travel, the freedom to live on my own terms. It is not a fantasy, it is a reality that I experience in my thoughts, in my feelings, in the very core of who I am. As I continue to immerse myself in these mental images, I begin to feel what it is like to already be living my desired life. I feel the excitement of financial independence, the peace that comes with knowing I'm secure, the joy of being able to give freely, and the confidence that I can handle any challenge that arises. These feelings are real, and they are the foundation upon which my outer world is built. The more I visualize, the more my mind becomes convinced that this is not just a possibility, but an inevitability. Every detail I add to the image makes it more tangible, more familiar, and more real. I can see myself stepping into new opportunities, making decisions with ease and confidence, and moving through life with the grace of someone who already has everything they need. The power of mental imagery is that it doesn't just show you the end result, but it shapes the very process of how that result will unfold. When I mentally rehearse my life as a multimillionaire, I am teaching my subconscious to align my actions, thoughts, and behaviors with this new identity. The more I visualize, the more my mind begins to recognize the path I must walk to bring that imagery into physical form. My mental images are not idle thoughts, they are the blueprint for my reality. And the more I focus on them, the more my life begins to mirror what I have seen and felt in my mind. In this state of mental imagery, there is no separation between the vision and the experience. I do not wait for the physical manifestation to confirm the image in my mind. I allow the image to confirm the physical manifestation. The images I create are not future possibilities, but present truths. And as I mentally live in that truth, my reality begins to reflect it. Every visualization is a step closer to the world I am creating. And as I continue to mentally embody the life I want, I begin to see the signs, the synchronicities, and the opportunities that show me I am already walking that path. And yet, I push myself to am resistant to that objective. Mental imagery is the language of the subconscious, and the more I speak this language, the more my life becomes an accurate reflection of the pictures I paint in my mind. I know that everything I envision is already on its way to me because I have already lived it, felt it, and breathed it in my thoughts. The mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When I picture myself as a multimillionaire, my mind accepts it as fact, and the universe responds by aligning my external reality with that inner image. The power of mental imagery is that it gives me the ability to create the world I wish to live in, simply by consistently and vividly seeing it in my mind's eye. The unseen force that shapes the world we experience. It's not enough to simply think about what you want. You must feel it deeply in your heart and your body as though it is already yours. Feelings are the language of the subconscious mind, and the subconscious, in turn, is what shapes the external world. When I feel wealthy, abundant, and successful, my entire being aligns with that energy, and it has no choice but to manifest in my outer reality. It is in the feeling that the magic happens. Thinking about something is one thing, but when I feel the emotions that accompany the success I desire, whether it is the exhilaration of financial freedom, the peace of knowing that everything I need is provided, or the joy of experiencing life on my terms, those feelings become my truth. It is this emotional connection to my desires that pulls them into my life. I don't need to see the evidence yet, because I feel it so strongly that it becomes undeniable to me. I feel it in the depths of my soul, and that feeling is what powers the creation of everything I want. In every moment, I choose to feel the emotions of a person who already has everything they desire. When I visualize my wealth, I don't just picture the numbers in my bank account or the luxurious experiences. I feel the confidence, the satisfaction, and the gratitude as though it is happening right now. The more I do this, the more my body, mind, and spirit synchronize with that frequency of wealth. It's as if I am tuning myself to the exact vibration of my desires. The universe responds to that vibration, and what I feel on the inside starts to show up on the outside. The power of feeling is so much greater than the power of thought alone. Thought without feeling is just an idea, a passing notion that lacks the emotional energy to bring it into form. But when you combine thought with feeling, when you align your emotions with your desires, you create a magnetic force that draws those desires to you. The feeling is the fuel that propels your manifestations into the physical world. I no longer have to wait for the world to give me permission to feel successful. I give myself permission now. I feel the abundance before it ever shows up. And that is what brings it forth. When I immerse myself in the feeling of wealth, I shift my entire energy. I stop seeing myself as someone who is struggling, striving, or hoping for success. I see myself as someone who already is successful, someone who already has the freedom, the resources, and the opportunities that others may only dream of. And as I feel that success, I become it. The feeling is not just an emotion, it's a signal to the universe, a confirmation of what I know to be true. And because I am sending out that signal constantly, it returns to me in the form of opportunities, wealth, and abundance. The more I feel, the more I experience. Feeling is the key that unlocks the door to manifestation. When I feel wealthy, I attract wealth. When I feel abundant, I attract abundance. When I feel successful, I attract success. It is that simple. The power lies in the consistency of my emotions, the depth of my belief, and the strength of my inner connection to the life I am creating. The universe responds to feeling, not words or thoughts alone, because feeling is the most powerful vibration you can emit. And so every day I choose to feel as though I am already the person I want to become. I feel the success, the freedom, the peace, and the joy that are already mine. I don't need external evidence to validate my feelings. My feelings are the truth, and they are what shape my reality. I am a multimillionaire not because of what I have on the outside, but because of what I feel on the inside. The more I feel it, the more the universe reflects it back to me, and the more I experience it in my physical world. It is not just a matter of thinking. It is a matter of feeling deeply and profoundly that I already am the person I am becoming. The most liberating realizations I can embrace. I no longer need to focus on what is absent in my life or what I don't have. The belief in scarcity, the fear of not having enough, has no place in my world anymore. I have shifted my mindset from one of limitation to one of abundance, and in doing so, I have freed myself from the grip of lack. The moment I detached from the idea that I am ever without, everything began to change. I no longer define my worth by what I have in the physical world. My value is not tied to the number in my bank account or the material things around me. I am not waiting for some future moment when everything aligns perfectly, because I know that what I need is already available to me. The more I detach from the idea of scarcity, the more I see how much is already here, all around me. I no longer chase after things or feel that I am missing out. I trust in the process, knowing that everything I desire is on its way, and I am worthy of receiving it. By releasing my attachment to lack, I open myself up to the flow of abundance. I stop measuring my life by the gaps and shortages, and instead, I focus on the richness of the present moment. The world around me is full of infinite possibilities, and when I let go of the belief that there is not enough, I tap into that limitless potential. The more I let go of the idea of not having enough, the more I see that there is more than enough, not just for me, but for everyone. Lack was never real. It was a story I told myself, a belief I held, but it has no place in my life now. As I detach from lack, I no longer worry about whether I will have enough. I trust that my desires are not only valid, but already fulfilled in the unseen realm. I don't need to see proof before I believe. I believe, and that belief is what creates the reality I experience. I have learned to trust the abundance of the universe. When I let go of the idea that something is missing, I allow what I desire to come to me naturally, effortlessly. I no longer hold on to fear or doubt, because I know that fear is only a reflection of lack, something I no longer entertain. When I stop seeing life through the lens of scarcity, I begin to see how truly abundant everything is. There is always enough time, enough resources, enough love, enough opportunity. I no longer fight against the flow of life, but instead, I surrender to it, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly in its own divine timing. Lack and limitation are mere illusions. As soon as I release my attachment to them, I open the door to the infinite supply that has always been waiting for me. I have learned that detachment from lack is not about ignoring the realities of the world or pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about changing the way I relate to them. Challenges are simply opportunities to grow, to learn, and to discover the abundance that is already in my life. I no longer struggle against difficulties and difficulties. Instead, I meet them with the knowing that every challenge holds within it the seed of my success, that there is always more than enough to solve any problem I encounter. In every area of my life, I now see abundance instead of lack. I no longer focus on what is not here, but on what is already present and on its way. I trust that as I continue to detach from the idea of scarcity, I create the space for more to flow into my life. I no longer need to strive or struggle to make things happen. Instead, I allow the universe to provide, and I allow myself to receive with open arms. And as I do, the abundance I once sought flows freely, effortlessly, and abundantly into my life. I have let go of lack, and in doing so, I have created a life where abundance is the only reality I know. I no longer have to chase it. I simply embrace it, because I know it is mine. I am not without. I am never without. The world is full of infinite possibility, and I am living proof of that truth. The conscious and deliberate process of choosing the reality you wish to experience and fully stepping into it. It is not enough to think about what you want or wish for it to come into your life. It is about assuming right now that what you desire is already yours. I do not wait for circumstances to change before I feel wealthy, abundant, and successful. I don't wait for external evidence to confirm my worth. I live as if I am already the person I intend to become. The law of assumption is about embodying the end result in your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, without any hesitation or doubt. When I assume a particular outcome, I do not entertain any contrary thoughts. I assume it with certainty, without any fear or second guessing. For instance, If I desire to be a multimillionaire, I assume that I am already a multimillionaire. I live from that assumption. My thoughts align with it, my actions reflect it, and my feelings embody it. I no longer see myself as someone trying to get there. I am already there. This assumption becomes my dominant reality, and the external world must conform to it. Assuming my desired reality requires a complete shift in my perception. I no longer look to the outer world to tell me who I am. Instead, I look within and understand that I am the creator of my own world. What I believe about myself, what I assume to be true, becomes my experience. The law of assumption is active and dynamic. It is not a passive belief, but a living, breathing force. I do not wait for the world to tell me I am worthy. I assume my worth, my success, my abundance, and then everything in my world reflects that. The key is not to question whether it will happen or how it will happen. I do not concern myself with the how because I trust the process. Once I assume the state of being that I desire, everything in my life begins to shift in alignment with that assumption. The law of assumption works through me because I am fully aligned with it. My thoughts, feelings, and actions are congruent with the belief that my desires are already fulfilled, and as a result, they manifest in my reality. This is the power of the law of assumption. It bypasses the need for evidence, because the assumption itself is the evidence. If I assume that I am a person of great wealth and abundance, I begin to think, feel, and act like that person. I see opportunities where others see obstacles. I make decisions with the confidence that wealth is already mine. The universe does not need to show me proof because I have already accepted the truth of my assumption. The assumption becomes the blueprint for my reality, and the world must comply with what I have claimed as true. And the law of assumption is not just a mental practice. It is a way of being. It requires me to fully step into the reality I desire and to live from that place. I do not need to wait for the physical manifestation to confirm my belief. I live as though it has already come. The more I live from that assumption, the more the external world conforms to it. Opportunities, people, and circumstances align themselves with the reality I have assumed, and everything unfolds in perfect harmony. Every action I take is rooted in my assumption of the desired outcome, whether it's making an investment, taking a new business risk, or having a conversation. I approach it as the person who has already achieved success. There is no doubt in my mind, no second guessing or waiting for validation. I act with the certainty that what I have assumed is already in motion, already on its way. This certainty fuels my actions, and my actions, in turn, bring my assumption into physical manifestation. Living in the state of assumption means I no longer have to try to manifest my desires. I am simply being in the fullness of what I have assumed. I embody the feeling of already having everything I want, and that feeling is the energy that brings it to life. The more I remain in this state, the more my world begins to reflect it. People respond to me as if I am already the person I have assumed to be, and situations unfold with an effortless flow that aligns with my desired outcome. The law of assumption in action is about living from the end. It is not about waiting for the results to show up before you believe in them. It is about believing first and watching as everything in your life reshapes itself to match that belief. When I assume the end result, that I am a multimillionaire, that I am successful, that I am abundant, the universe bends to that assumption, and the physical world follows suit. I don't need to see the results before I believe. I believe first, and the results manifest in perfect timing. In every moment, I am either assuming the reality I desire or allowing doubt to creep in. I have learned that doubt has no place in my world. I no longer entertain it. I live from the assumption that all things are already in alignment with the life I want to live. As I continue to assume my success, my abundance, and my wealth, I realize that the law of assumption is not just a law, it is the way in which the universe responds to my inner state. And as I remain in the state of assumption, I continue to see my life unfold exactly as I have assumed it would. As I stand here today, I want you to know that the power to create the life you desire is already within you. The law of assumption is not just a concept or a theory. It is the very mechanism through which you shape your reality. You are not waiting for life to happen to you. You are the one making it happen. The moment you choose to assume the life you want, to live in the end as if it has already happened, you set the wheels of manifestation in motion. Understand this. You do not need to chase success. You do not need to seek validation. You do not need to wait for external circumstances to change before you feel worthy, abundant, or powerful. The moment you assume your desired reality, you are already living it. The world will align with your inner assumptions and will reflect back to you everything you believe is true. Your beliefs, your feelings, your assumptions, they are the blueprint for everything that will unfold in your life. It is not about working harder, striving more, or forcing things into place. It is about stepping into the person you already are in the invisible world and watching as the physical world mirrors that. The only thing standing between you and your desires is the story you tell yourself. Change that story, assume the reality you want, and the universe will deliver. So, from this moment forward, live in the end. Assume your wealth, your success, your freedom. Feel it, think it, breathe it, and act from that place of certainty. You are already the person you are becoming, and everything you desire is on its way to you. The power is yours, always has been, and always will be. The only question is, will you claim it now?